All right, man. Peace. So for those of you brothers who watched the NBA over the past 20 years or so, you'll know that Paul Pierce was one of its standout stars. He was a champion. He was able to win the NBA championship in 2008. And he was always a player who was considered one of the best players during that era, from the late 90s all the way to the mid to late 2010s. He retired, I believe, in 2017. And one of the moments that stood out in that last season when Paul Pierce was in the NBA riding the bench for the LA Clippers is when Paul Pierce was trying to talk trash to Draymond Green and the Golden State Warriors in a game in which the Clippers were playing against the Warriors. And Draymond Green basically let him know, you think you Kobe, you ain't Kobe. Because Paul Pierce was not being feted all across the NBA like Kobe Bryant had been the year before. And many of these star players, they get that moment of truth, that moment of clarity of exactly what level they're at, because there are different levels of stars and superstars in the history of the NBA. And Kobe Bryant was a transcendent superstar level player. Paul Pierce was a transcendent star player, but never a superstar. So Draymond Green was letting Paul Pierce know, you're not Kobe. Why did Draymond Green have to do that? Because Paul Pierce suffers from delusions of grandeur. For those of us who remember when Paul Pierce first came into the NBA and the talk of Michael Jordan coming back started to bubble, started to circulate, started to percolate, Paul Pierce was on television saying, I can't wait for Jordan to come back so I could bust his ass, so on and so forth. And Jordan and Paul Pierce, they had a lot of run-ins where they would talk a lot of trash towards one another in the early 2000s. And oftentimes, Jordan would get the better end of it. Sometimes Paul Pierce got the better end of it. But Paul Pierce's mouth always got him in trouble. He went to a club, I think in 2000 or 2001, ended up getting stabbed up for running his mouth. And all throughout his career, Paul Pierce has always shown that he thinks that he's a little bit better than he actually was. And he was a star player. He is a first ballot Hall of Famer. But he thinks he's a little bit better than he actually was. Well, he made an appearance on The Jump, the Rachel Nichols show. And he had a little segment with Scottie Pippen where Scottie Pippen was outlining how he would try to defend one of the more popular offensive moves in the NBA today, that being the step-back jump shot. And Paul Pierce had the nerve to allege that he feels he invented the step-back jump shot. Now, the step-back was one of the major weapons of Paul Pierce, no doubt about it. But he did not invent the step-back jump shot, not even close. So anyway, they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
Paul Pierce here. I'm here with the great Scottie Pippen, 6-time champion, and today we're going to talk about the step back. Everybody's doing the step back, I feel. James Harden, everybody's going crazy off. He's shooting all these three-pointers off the step back, but this is a move I felt like I originated.
Paul Pierce said he originated the step back jump shot. Let me tell you something. And he's too old to be saying some dumb shit like that. Because anybody who watched basketball in the 80s and 90s, you'll know that many players had step-back jump shots. Larry Bird had a great step-back jump shot. Michael Jordan had a great step-back jump shot. Bernard King, Alex English. The step-back is a basic move that great offensive players use to clear out space. Paul Pierce did not invent the step-back jump shot. So just the notion that he would get on TV and allege some nonsense like that shows you that he's still dealing with those delusions of grandeur.
The thing about the step back for me, I always set it up with the drive. So I never intended to do the step back. My whole intention was attack the basket. So when I would attack the basket and somebody would like cut it off, and then I get my shoulder into him, I'm cut off now. That's when I go to my step back. That's how I created the space. And so for the viewers at home, you know, this move seems to be unguardable. Scottie, you know, how would you guard this?
Well, the step-back move is a very difficult move to defend. What it does is allows the offensive player to gather some space. As you said, you would dip your shoulder, make contact with the defender, and gather yourself to step back. That's the space where it's tough for a defender to close.
You can tell that's how Scottie coaches his son, because Scottie's being very comprehensive in how he's explaining every aspect of the move.
Because you've already knocked me back on my heels.
Right.
But for me to defend a shot like that, if I think that's going to be your go-to, as we watch with James Harden a lot, I'm probably going to sit on the side that you're going to push your shot off on. So as a defender, I'm going to continue to try to push you into drive, but not give you the drive.
And then once I step back,
The only thing I can do is try to close out to your shot.
Right.
I don't think I can block your shot. I don't even think I can affect your shot because you've already, again, put me on
See,
my
that's
heels.
what people don't see. But a lot of the kids today, I used it because I probably wasn't the fastest to get around my man as I.
Well, we know you were not the fastest, Paul Pierce. And once again, this notion, just to get back to it, where a lot of modern-day NBA viewers, they'll look back at films from the 80s and they'll say, that person couldn't play today, whether it be a Larry Bird or Kevin McHale or whatever player, because the films make players seem a little bit slower than they actually are. I'll give you an example. When that running back from the Tennessee Titans, Derrick Henry, he had a 99-yard touchdown run. I went back and I looked up the highlight reel of the 99-yard Tony Dorsett touchdown run. And they slow that footage down. Whenever they do a highlight, it's like whenever they show an NBA highlight from the mid-90s, they purposefully pixelate the footage to make it look old for whatever reason. I have no idea why they do that, but they do that. If you look up the real game footage of Tony Dorsett's 99-yard touchdown run, that dude was so fast it was crazy. Point being is this. Great players are going to be great in any era. I don't care if it's from the 60s, 70s, 80s. Great players are going to be great in any era. Paul Pierce was not a fast dude, but he was able to dominate at certain points in his career because he understood the game.
As I got older, so if I didn't get that step, I would always lean into him. So y'all get to lean. Once you lean in somebody, then I step back. Now, guys are set it up with the dribble and just and get right to it.
Well, Paul, I will.
That's because with the new rules, they don't have to worry about players pressuring them up close anymore. The face-up game is so much more dominant today because players can't pressure you like they used to. That's why guys don't go to the post-up. The post-up was created as a mechanism to protect the basketball. So you put your back to your opponent, especially in certain positions in the mid-post or the low post. You don't have to post up anymore because guys can't touch you. So you can just face them up all day.
I will say because of the era, the game has changed tremendously.
Absolutely.
When you play, defenders were able to get up and physically get into you. So you had to use that sort of go-to move to get them off of you, get their hands off of you, any kind of way that they were playing you physical. In today's game, it's totally different. The defender is not allowed to really put any contact
Use
on a ball
hands
handler.
and physicality is out there.
Yes,
Really.
and the ball handler has all of the weapons now because he has the ability to get you off of him by using his shoulders, his hands, and things. So the step back in today's game is a very difficult move to do.
If there was like one player, who would you say, all right, this is the one guy who can probably guard this move? Who you think that would be? To me, it's Kawhi.
I would say Kawhi as well as Paul George. And also Kevin Durant.
Because he got the strength. He's quick, long arms, similar to you.
Well, I don't think he has the size in the range. He's very similar to me, but he don't have my range.
I'm not quite sure about that. I think that Kawhi might have the same arm length as Scottie. But then again, Scottie might have longer arms. Who the hell knows? Scottie Pippen has tremendously long arms. But so does Kawhi Leonard.
And I think a guy that would probably, I don't know who that guy would be in today's game.
Paul George, Kevin Durant.
Game to say that they could guard the step back move because it creates at least 3 to 4 feet of spacing. So I don't know who that guy would be.
Now that you think, now we're in a new generation.
Scottie needs to take Michael Jordan out shopping and teach him how to dress for the modern day time period because Scottie's done a good job of understanding how to dress leisurely for an older man. Michael's, I don't know what the hell Michael doing. I guess Michael just don't give a shit.
New generation. If you thought the step back was unstoppable, what you think of this? What about that? The double step back.
That's not the double step back. That's the merengue. Okay, that's the salsa. Niggas now, they're not doing step backs. They're doing the merengue.
Is there any way to stop that?
Look at that shit. Wow.
That move there is totally unstoppable. The only way you're going to stop that move is if the pitcher blow the wood.
That nigga doing the do-si-do.
And I haven't seen that happen too many times. But again, I think today's play.
This is why people don't like Harden because they feel like he gets away with so much. It's crazy how much that guy gets away with.
Players have definitely utilized this move more so than they did in the past 40 or 50 years in our game. So it has been enhanced, and I think it's been great for the game.
There you go.
Scottie said the step back has been enhanced.
No stopping the step back.
First of all, I love that. Paul doing the double hop. How could you not give him a hard time about I invented the step back?
Thank you, Rachel Nichols. Thank you. Even you understand the foolishness of Paul Pierce alleging that he invented the step back jump shot. Like, are you kidding me?
Come on, Scottie. Throw that on the job there.
I didn't use a step back, so I couldn't really come at it. And the only guy really, well, maybe Larry Bird used it, but he did it so slow.
Larry Bird used a step back. Even in the 90s, you had a lot of scorers who used a step back, like Jim Jackson, Jamal Mashburn. Those guys used a step back jump shot. For Paul Pierce to claim that he invented that move, like, give me a break.
But it was efficient. It was efficient. Now, don't get it twisted. Very efficient. But
talking about Zach's childhood hero here.
I didn't really play against Larry that much. I had a couple years with him. So, but
Larry Bird lit your ass up a couple times, Scottie.
But I would not let him have his.
You want to let him have his moment. We love Paul. We want him to have his moment.
He was a great step back.
It's forcing teams to get really creative because they don't know what to do against it. Because if you challenge him, you're going to foul him.
Right.
If you don't challenge him, he's going to be open. I know one team just said, if he steps back, don't step back with him. Just put your hands up and just put your hands up because you're going to foul him. And
Harden has so many of these teams so mentally intimidated. You see how the Lakers play them. They literally put their hands behind their back. So in the regular season, there's really no way to guard James Harden.
And we don't want to foul him. If he makes a step back three and your hands are up,
at least it's 3, not 4. I mean, we've seen guys defend with their hands behind the back. I spoke to James this past weekend down in Houston, and 2 summers ago is when he really added the step back to his game as just a regular part of his arsenal. He told me that this summer his whole work was the side step back, right? And he said that he goes, I think it's unguardable. I think it's absolutely unguardable. Of course,
next summer is going to be the moonwalk.
Of course, Kawhi Leonard is going to try to guard him tonight. Kyle Lowry, part of that team that's going to try to guard.
But anyway, that's basically it on that. I just thought that the segment was very interesting, not only because of Scottie Pippen's tutorial, but also because of Paul Pierce's assertion that he invented the step-back jump shot. Paul is really still out there. He's past Pluto. So peace.